Everyone, I'm the Tax Pro, and today I'm going to talk to you about deducting medical expenses on your tax return. So I hear a lot of times, can I deduct medical expenses? If so, what can I deduct? Does it save me money? How does it work? And the answer is yes, you can deduct medical expenses. Not everybody is going to qualify to deduct their medical expenses. They're not going to have enough, and not everybody is going to want to deduct medical expenses. So a medical expense on your personal tax return is a itemized deduction. So when I'm going through this, I am talking about your personal tax return. I'm not talking about a business deducting things like health insurance, okay? This is for an individual deducting their medical expenses on their tax return. It is an itemized deduction. This right here is Schedule A. Schedule A goes with your Form 1040, which is the individual tax return. And Schedule A is itemized deductions, okay? Itemized deductions are a set of deductions that somebody can opt into taking instead of the standard deduction. There are certain itemized deductions on here, and they are all subject to like certain limits and that kind of thing. First thing you'll notice is medical and dental expenses right here. So you can deduct medical and dental expenses. There is a floor that you have to reach in order to deduct medical expenses on your itemized deduction sheet. What I mean by that is the IRS allows you to deduct medical expenses that are more than 7.5% of your adjusted gross income. So you're probably thinking, I don't know what that means. Explain it in like lay people terms. Right here, you'll see it guides you through it. So you're going to put your medical and dental expenses here. I'll go over what qualifies here in a second. Then you're going to go to line 11 on your Form 1040. So this is Form 1040. This is the individual tax return. You're going to go down to line 11 right here, which is your adjusted gross income. So you're going to take line 11 on your tax return, and you are going to multiply it by 7.5%. Okay? So it tells you right here on line 2, you're going to put the amount from line 11, and then you're going to multiply it by 7.5%. That is your floor. So you cannot deduct medical expenses until they get above that floor, and you can only deduct the amounts above that floor. Let me work through an example with you. So if we have your AGI, so you prepare your Form 1040 and you're determining if you want to take standard deduction or itemized deductions. Okay, that hits on line 12. So you're going to go to line 11, and let's say that your AGI is your adjusted gross income on line 11 is, let's do 60,000. So it's $60,000 on line 11, okay? You are going to take line 11 at 60,000 and you are going to multiply it by 7.5%. Your floor for medical and dental expenses is $4,500. What that means is the first $4,500 of medical and dental expenses you cannot deduct. If you have $3,000 of medical and dental expenses and your floor is $4,500, you can't deduct any of it. If you have $6,000 of medical and dental expenses, you can deduct $1,500, which is $6,000 minus the $4,500. Okay? So you can't deduct anything from the floor or below. It's only above the floor. That's the total amount that you would determine in medical and dental expenses that you could deduct on your itemized deductions. Let's go over what medical expenses you can actually deduct. So right here, this is from the IRS. And this is, do I benefit from itemizing my deductions? It's a little kind of excerpt that we can read through. This provides a definition of medical expenses. So right here, they are the costs of diagnosis, cure, mitigation, treatment, or prevention of disease, and the costs for treatments affecting any part or function of the body. So these include payments for medical services rendered by physicians, surgeons, dentists, and other medical practitioners, and it also includes the cost of equipment, supplies, and diagnostic devices. So these do not include expenses that are merely beneficial to general health, such as vitamins or a vacation. Medical expenses include the premiums you pay for insurance that covers the expenses of medical care and the amounts you pay for transportation to get medical care. There's also some additional examples below, like artificial limbs, contact lenses, eyeglasses, hearing aids, etc. Now, this seems kind of black and white at first, but there are a lot of questions that will come up, like, okay, well, my doctor said that I need a hot tub in order to treat my arthritis. Can I deduct that on my taxes? And the answer to that is it depends. It gets a little bit more complicated than that. So if you have something like that, to where you want to take something that could potentially be misconstrued as a personal benefit versus a medical expense, make sure that you consult with a tax professional, because there is a large gray area there. And you want to make sure that you are meeting the substantiation requirements in the event that you get audited. Okay, so medical expenses are deductible on Schedule A. Do you want to deduct them though? Is it beneficial? Going back to Form 1040, you choose on here on line 12 if you want to take the standard deduction or if you want to take itemized deductions. So I like to say, in general, it does not make sense to take itemized deductions if the itemized deductions are not more than your standard deduction. So right here in the left-hand side of Form 1040 on page 1, this is going to tell you what your standard deduction is, and this is adjusted every year. So for single or married filing separate for 2024, the standard deduction was $14,600. Married filing jointly or qualifying surviving spouse / widower is $29,200. Head of household is $21,900. So if you have itemized deductions of $5,000, it's probably not going to make sense to itemize versus take the standard deduction. Okay? Probably does not make sense. If your itemized deductions are greater than your standard deduction, then it probably makes sense. You just need to make sure that you consider all factors, such as if you take a deduction for state and local taxes, and then you get a refund, you then have to claim that as income. So there are a couple of things that you want to keep in mind, but if your itemized deductions, the Schedule A, if the total down here on line 17 is more than your standard deduction, then it probably makes sense to itemize. Other things that are going to go into your itemized deductions are going to be things like medical and dental expenses, taxes, interest, gifts to charity, and sometimes casualty and theft losses. These are a lot harder to take now. I have another video that goes over standard versus itemized, so I'm not going to go too far in depth because this is specifically for medical and dental expenses. But to answer the question of whether or not you can deduct medical expenses, yes, you can. You can do it on the itemized deduction sheet. It doesn't always make sense to do it. And you can only deduct medical expenses above a floor. If you have any questions, please let me know. I hope that this was helpful. And if it was, if you could like and subscribe, I would greatly appreciate that. And I will see you guys in the next video.